Ohio State's quarterback battle has been the talk of the town all offseason, and that is going to continue and maybe even ramp up as fall camp begins today. Ohio State's quarterbacks need to show up, need to show out, and need to show, hey, we are improving. And one of the 5 guys needs to show they have earned the title of QB1 in Columbus. Now it's day 1 of camp. There's been a lot of time since real practice has been going underway. So, there might be some slow moments, some low lights. There might be some highlights from some guys, but you expect, hey, might be a tad bit rusty. Well, Will Howard showed some things today during fall camp that Ryan Day liked, and here's what Ryan Day had to say about Will Howard and the way that he was throwing the ball on day 1 of fall camp. Quote, I thought there was more zip on the ball, and I thought there was more accuracy. I thought the ball came out with more pace. He had some good discernment, end quote. What do we find here about Will Howard right away? He is checking boxes. He is not saying he has earned the title of QB1. That's not what Ryan Day is saying. Ryan Day is simply saying, hey, look, got more zip on the ball, got some good pace, more accurate. You're checking boxes. You're improving. And doing that on day 1 of fall camp is huge. What about the other 4 guys? What about digging deeper into what Will Howard did on day 1 of fall camp? Who was the most consistent quarterback? Devin Brown. Now, here's the weird thing. That was the same narrative we got about Devin Brown during spring practice. He was the most consistent quarterback. So why? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out and wonder that Will Howard got to start during spring practice, but the narrative about during spring practice was a more consistent quarterback was Devin Brown. So what is missing? Is it intangibles? Is it just Will Howard was there for the experience, so you had him start? What is it? What are we missing? I would like to know because, yes, I all offseason have said I thought and believed that Will Howard would be the starting quarterback. I thought he would be QB1 at this point in camp right now. If Devin Brown's more consistent, start him. If Devin Brown gives your offense the best opportunity to be successful and to score the most points and to take advantage of the opposition, start him. But if he does not and somebody else does, start that guy. Start the person that gives the offense the best opportunity to be successful. That's it. If it's Devin Brown or Julian Sayin or Will Howard or Aaron Nolan or Lincoln Kienholz, it does not matter. You start the guy that is the best option for the team right now, and there are things that you want to have checked off your box. Devin Brown, the most consistent on day 1, cool. Who was the best thrower of the football? The freshman, Julian Sayin. Now, this is where things are going to get really interesting because lately, as we got away from spring practice, even on this show, the top 2 guys in the room, Will Howard, Devin Brown. But towards the end of spring practice, Ryan Day said, hey, Julian Sayin is in the mix of this QB battle right now. And I'm thinking, okay, like he's a true freshman. And I think there's a lot of caution about starting a true freshman at Ohio State at quarterback. But Mo Murphy, frequent contributor of this show, host of the Up in Flames podcast, part of the OG3 at the Off the Ball Network, Mo Murphy came on here earlier this offseason and said he believed the week 1 starter should be Julian Sayin. And I thought it was crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought it was crazy that he would say, hey, Julian Sayin is the guy at quarterback for Ohio State. But if he proves it, if he earns it, give him the keys to the car. Let him do all the checks. Let him run this thing. If he has earned it, give him those keys and let him orchestrate the offense the way that it needs to be orchestrated. If he hasn't earned it, then don't give him the keys. It's that simple. Let's not overlook the things that we have that happen here. This is going to be from a report from fall camp, talking about more in depth about things that happened from the quarterbacks. Will Howard tossed a few tight spirals early in practice, but had some struggles pushing the ball down the field in both 7-on-7 and team drills, underthrowing several deep balls. He also missed a throw well behind Will Kazmarek on a short crossing route. Does that sound like something that you would say a guy should not be the starting quarterback for? It's day 1 of camp. Mistakes are going to be made. That right there is not enough, but it does really shine a light on, hey, these are the things that we're struggling with right now. Going further, in general, there were a lot of checkdowns from the quarterbacks on day 1, though it was perhaps Devin Brown, just as in the spring, who showed the most overall consistency, though he didn't have any major highlight reel moments. Do you really need a quarterback to have highlight reel moments? I mean, If you're starting quarterback and the offense is scoring points and the things are flowing and the things are moving, do you really need highlight reel moments from your starting quarterback? No, you don't. Now you're going to get them, but on day one, especially on day one of camp, no. Now, what we're going to see, though, is whoever the starting quarterback is at Ohio State, they're going to have highlight reel moments. It's just what's going to happen. With the receivers you're going to have, with the throws you're going to make, with the long touchdown runs, they're going to have highlight reel moments in games. We all know that. That's okay. Don't read too deep into this. Then it went on to say Julian Sayin might have been the best thrower of the day. He wedged a ball between a couple defenders in a perfect spot to G. Scott Jr., but he also had his share of, freshman moments, including multiple fumble snaps. There's more on Lincoln Kienholz, more on Aaron Nolan. And what we're finding is, Cam just started. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be issues. There might be a throw behind a guy. There might be an overthrown ball. There might be a ball thrown in a double coverage that should not be there. There might be a deeper battle in this fall camp than what is needed. There might be. Okay. Cam just started. And the things we're reading, things we're going to hear, the things we're going to see, types of videos we're going to watch, the clips that from press conferences we're going to watch as well. What we're going to find is there's a lot of things that are going to be reported that are not good, but it's also practice. I personally been going around to different high schools in the area where I live, doing some high school preview stuff before we start covering football games in the fall. And one thing I've noticed is no matter who is playing, no matter if I'm at one high school or another, one thing we're finding out or seeing is, there's going to be some high moments in practice. There's going to be some low moments. I've been at a practice where a team was practicing inside of a field house due to inclement weather. I was at a practice where a team was scrimmaging a team that was over an hour away. I've seen a lot of stuff. I saw a team practice on turf, one practice on grass. Like, I've seen a lot of stuff, and the grass was not like the upper tier pristine kept grass. It was not. But what I'm saying is, in practice, you're going to find things that aren't okay. You're going to find things that will cause you to need to coach a little bit more and coach a little bit longer. That is going to happen. So when we hear these reports from practice, when we see these things, we see these videos, you're like, oh man, that ain't good. That ain't going to happen. That can't happen. Remember this? It's practice. You improve throughout practice, you're going to have better playing time and better plays in the game. Now, if you keep practicing inconsistently, and if you keep practicing bad plays, what are you going to have on Saturdays in the fall? Bad play, inconsistent play, not up to the standard at Ohio State. But if you iron out some of the kinks now, some of the wrinkles now, and figure those things out, once practice begins, once games start being played, you're going to say, oh, the report early in fall camp, they worked on that. They've been grinding, and they fixed it when they got on the field in the fall. Akron, Western Michigan, Marshall, Iowa, Oregon, Penn State, Nebraska. Don't matter who the opponent is. If they iron out these wrinkles now and start figuring out fixes to the wrinkles now, iron them out smooth, we gonna like what we see on Saturdays in the fall from those boys in the scarlet and gray.